Hi, I'm Tim. Welcome to Watchbox, and thanks for logging on. If you love this watch, email me, tmosso@thewatchbox.com. It's in the description below, your purchase and pricing email question line for buying this or any watch you see on any Watchbox platform. Email me directly for pricing. I am tmosso@thewatchbox.com. Today, we're discussing a first-generation Omega Seamaster Aqua Terra in stainless steel, 39.2 millimeters in diameter. This is representative of the collection as it debuted back in 2002. So it's 39.2 in diameter, 11.4 millimeters thick, 46.7 millimeters from lug tip to lug tip, with a 20 millimeter spacing between the lugs. Now, the nice thing about these early caliber 2500 Aqua Terras is that today, in 2021, they remain competitive with Rolex watches in terms of thickness, whereas the later tri-level coaxials, especially the 8500s, are so thick that there really is no comparing them to Rolex, whereas here I can definitely create parallels in fit and appearance, and this watch is competitive on that basis. Throwing it on my wrist, which is 16 centimeters in circumference, you can see what I'm talking about. It sits very low for an Omega coax, easily sliding underneath the dress sleeve. 16 centimeter wrist, you can see that the lugs come nowhere near the edge of that wrist, and from over the top, I am tightening it quite a bit so you can see how it would look if it were fitted down. It wouldn't be compressing my wrist quite as much, so it wouldn't be as close as it appears to be to the edge of my wrist. I can recommend this watch for a wrist as small as 13.5 centimeters circumference. It looks great. It's a 150 meter sports watch, fully loomed, automatic, but it's also a dress watch. As the Aqua Terra, which largely replaced the previous Seamaster 120 collection, this has often been the sort of surf-turf Seamaster, equivalent, if you could call it that, to something like a Rolex Datejust 41. Now, taking a look at the case, it gives way to a strap, and the strap is surprisingly substantial. A reddish-brown, large rectangular scale alligator leather with a contrasting stitch. It's rich, and there's a lot of leather here. Sheer cut on the side. You can see it's thickly bolstered to give it volume. You can also see that it's calfskin on the bottom and a brand new Omega factory strap. Deployant clasp, you can see it is all of high polish with some satination inside the body of the clasp. The way this works is you take the strap, you tuck it in, then you buckle it down, it holds it fast, and then you close it, and so there's no need for strap minders. If you're wondering what strap minders are, they're these little loops that help to contain the excess length when you size a strap down. The excess length here is tucked underneath the clasp, so it's a very clean look. And because it is a twin trigger release clasp, it can't accidentally pop open. Taking a look at the case band, this is a familiar case. We've seen it on Seamasters and Speedmasters since the early 60s. Lyre style lugs. So we've got the inward bevel and the outward bevel. Inward is satinated, outward is polished. The mid case is longitudinal satin finish, and then we've got a little bit of a setback of the bezel from the case band. The bezel is conical in profile, and the crown, as you can see, on its first generation Aqua Terra, featured no shear guard or crown guard structure. It is a screw down, however. The watch is water resistant as advertised on the dial. The dial is a silver white opaline, or a very, very fine frosted matte finish rather than a sunburst. We have applique rose gold plated Omega logo and marquee plus faceted indices. We have a step down from the dial to the date, which is a nice progressive break. It's not nice when you see a sheer cut straight down, so Omega steps down from the dial, one step, and then down to the date disc. We have an applique dial layout, which is impressive because back then, when this watch was made in the early 2000s, the Seamaster and the Speedmaster standard models were made with printed dials, so with appliques here, this was a more upscale look. We have a broad arrow style minute hand, and you can see a Dauphine style hour hand, and both are faceted down the center for better contrast. We'll do a quick loom shot here. And you can see this is Super Luminova in green, quite bright. Flipping the watch over, caliber 2500 Bravo. So you can see it's based on an ETA 2892A2, but there are many changes. First of all, rather than the 23 jewel Omega 1120 based on the 2892A2, this is a, as you can see, 27 jewel. It's also free sprung as opposed to the Edicron adjustment of the standard movement. So free sprung means it can be adjusted in 5 positions for the chronometer test, and it is a chronometer, and then it will better hold that regulation in the face of bumps and concussions on the wrist. It does feature stop seconds. It does feature a quick set date. The power reserve is upgraded from 44 hours in the standard Omega caliber 1120 to 48 hours here. And you can see it is a good looking movement overall because it's based on a 2892. It's quite thin as well. This is something that would later be lost in the subsequent versions of the Coaxial, and this uses the original 28,800 vibration per hour beat rate of the first of the 2500s, because again, this is a Bravo. A chronometer, a dress watch, a sports watch, all of that, and the Coaxial Escapement, featuring the Coaxial Escapement, a direct and indirect tangential contact escapement invented by George Daniels in 1974, industrialized by Omega in 1999, and really the closest you can get to a truly exotic escapement for under $50,000, and this watch still can boast that distinction even in 2021. Reach out to Team Mosso at thewatchbox.com for purchase and pricing details.